what, like? So, obviously, the Scottish Parliament is in recess right now, so that's why there's like a lack of like wee videos on the channel and whatnot. But yeah, came across. I always start off with this. I came across an article. Yeah, well, I did do it, and it was something I'm actually somewhat surprised that I missed at the time, admittedly, um, due to the sort of contents of said article. But I'm going to go through that briefly, and then I'm going to kind of go through some other building racial literacy stuff because, like, this is like a hill that I've said on multiple occasions for years that I will die on. It's a rarity to actually see any media coverage about this program, and it's something I've been talking about for fucking years, you know, to next to no avail, by and large. But it's something that just really, like, it's just annoyed me for years, like even this, for example, right? So I'll just share my screen very briefly. Share screen. Like my YouTube playlist, right? First video on the topic was 2 years ago. It'll be soon 3 years, to be honest, but building racial literacy. And at the time, I was talking about it. Nobody else really was. And what really fucked me off as time went on was that I started trying to reach out to a lot of people to try and get them to speak about it, and like nobody did really. Scottish Family Party did for the time. They made a couple of videos on it. Bruce Scott, they made quite a few videos on it, but by and large, nobody really spoke about it. But here we are again. I mean, it's still going on, and it's something that I have researched vigorously. I didn't know a fuck all really about critical race theory before I came across this program, but I educated myself on the matter, and it's something I can speak wholeheartedly about. And I ain't a journalist, by the way, either. I'm not a fucking journalist, but I'm doing their fucking job, clearly. So it's nice to see that they're finally doing something about it, or they're going to talk one time about it. But by and large, they don't do fuck all. And I'm also going to take some pot shots at the Tory party in this particular video because it's very, very nice of you to talk about it once and only. But regardless, so let's just get into it. So share screen. Where are we? We are on this article first and foremost. So this is the article in question. So obviously it's from the Telegraph. There's going to be a semblance of bias because it's obviously not the SNP that are doing this. Like it's not them. It's Education Scotland, but I know that like they sort of are synonymous with the SNP. But SNP takes teachers out of schools for racial microaggression training, with the Scottish Conservatives dubbing the policy, which removes staff from classrooms for 3 days each, a complete farce. Okay, I have not heard. Okay, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen here, just to really hammer home the point here with my little anonymous mask. And by the way, the reason I'm wearing this is like every time that I do make a tiny wee video with the anonymous mask, I get more views. So I'm trying to exploit said situation here. But where have the Scottish Tories been? Where have they been? For anybody that thinks that they are anything to write home about, where have the Scottish Tories been when it comes to this issue? No. No. Really? Not really. Scottish Daily Express made a fucking article that I had to make a video about to sort of debunk their claims. This was years ago on said playlist from earlier on. Really heard anything else apart from that, have you? You don't. You don't. So, yeah. Oh, it's a complete farce in this instance, is it? Aye, good for you, mate. But anyway, so we'll get into it now. So yeah. So an SNP training program is how they're framing it, but regardless, allows teachers to take the equivalent of 3 days out from the classroom to learn how to decode racial microaggressions. The Building Racial Literacy Programme, delivered by Education Scotland, which is the Quango, or they are basically the same thing as like the Scottish Government, more or less. Trains teachers to decode race and racial microaggressions. This refers to subtle, often unintentional acts that convey a negative attitude towards someone of a different race. The course also examines intersectionality, the ways in which racism interacts with other factors such as class and gender. It features a specifically written poem, Seeds of Anti-Racist Education, by Taiwan Sitara. You know, it's funny on a wee side note. Back in the day, because they'd spelt the fucking video wrong initially. I'll never forget that. They spelled the video wrong, yeah. So it said Tawana shite, not shite, it's shithole. They spelled the video wrong, and it was there for days, yeah. It was there for days because I remember sending a screenshot to Scott's Armour. Like, look at the title on the video. It said Tawana shithole. Anyway, shithole. So anyway, it features a written poem, Seeds of Anti-Racist Education by Tawana Sitwell, which talks about racial trauma leading to mental unwellness and an unfair burden placed on people of colour. BAMS. Okay. So anyway, it then goes on to say, teachers who choose to sign up attend 7 online webinars and events spread across 5 months, adding up to 18 and a half hours, more than 3 full school days. The program's website said more than 400 people had experienced it, with a further 340 being welcomed in 2024/2025's financial year, as well as teachers. They included nursery staff and those who write exams. Right, and this is the thing, they keep everything behind like some sort of not a black hole, sorry, like a paywall. You can't access the program. Every single time they do this, they've got cohorts, so to speak, right? And I'll get onto the cohorts in a second, but like it was cohort 1, it was cohort 2, there was cohort 3, they're now on cohort 4, right? And you have to apply to be part of the project. And if you do not get accepted, because you have to go you have to jump through hoops, okay, for this anti-racist, it's critical race theory, okay, but regardless, you have to jump through hoops, and if you don't get picked, then you don't have access to their materials, right? So a good chunk of the stuff that I ended up punting out over the course of the past few years came in the back of some of the more naive people who were part of the project, who were able to, who did post some stuff that they probably shouldn't have posted, such as the sort of to-do list, for example, once they came out the other side of this fucking course, etc. But regardless, yeah, but like most of the teachers in question and nursery staff and whatnot, they're all anonymous. They're all fucking anonymous, but that should be a concern. It should be a concern. They're in nursery, some of these people. They're in nursery, so they go to this program, they adopt the critical race theorist mindset. Everything's a fucking problem. Everything's racist. And all of a sudden, they then in turn take what they've learned in their building racial literacy cohort, etc. And then what do they go and do? They then in turn take what they've learned, what's stored in their head, and then fire it into the classroom, right? Might be age appropriate or whatever you want to call it, but the point remains the same. They're still brainwashing and propagandizing our youth, okay? So Stephen Kerr, fucking, he's on a high horse there all of a sudden. Yeah, good for you, mate. I didn't hear you talking about it for over the course of the past few years. But anyway, he says that the Scottish Tory MSP said that meant more than 400 teachers had been pulled out of school at a cost of more than 7,400 plus teaching hours, which he's argued exacerbates staff shortages. That's his point of contention. Well, it's not the only one. There's the bottom paragraph, but I mean, fucking hell, that's your go-to. Recent figures showed the number of teachers in Scotland had fallen by more than 600 over the past year, with Mr. Kerr accusing SNP ministers of attempting to indoctrinate teachers with a woke left-wing ideology. Bullshit. No, it's not even that. It's anti-white. It's fucking anti-white. Okay? They're not going into these cohorts, or they're not attending this program to learn about the qualms and the conundrums and the issues with every single race slash ethnicity on the planet. It's all about white privilege. It's all about white power structures. It's all about white supremacy, and it's and BAMEs. Intergenerational trauma experienced by brown and black people. It's all about indigenous rights. In fact, I'll fucking prove it, because the Building Racial Literacy program literally fucking started post George Floyd, but where it came from initially, and I know I've done this before, but I'm just going to do it again now. Um, this came on the back of the anti-racist educator, okay? And I've shown this before in the past. The anti-racist educator is where these people initially came from, right? The people that are spearheading this program. And this was a fringe website at said time. We're going back to like 2018, 2019, etc. Based in Scotland, of course. Anti-racist educator being a collective of educational stakeholders, including students, teachers, parents, academics, and activists, etc. But if we just come down slightly, it says that they talk about cruel, compassion. So yari. But critically, sorry, the anti-racist educator adopts an understanding of race and racism as intrinsic to issues of social, cultural, and institutional power across its intersections. Right, so intersectionality, yeah, of course. The anti-racist educator recognizes that identities are fluid and bound to context, requiring critical engagement with the broad range of both minority racial identities and whiteness as the racial position of power. This here, right? Whiteness is the racial position of power. Okay, now but let's come down, because here we go. Oh, who do we get? The people involved, the people that made this fucking website, the people who then in turn ended up being funded by the Scottish government to create the Building Racial Literacy program in the fucking first place post George Floyd. Who have we got? Melina Valdineri. Yeah, of course we fucking do. We got this bellend, don't know who he fucking is. He's not really relevant. Not her, Sangeeta. This prick, I've seen him in a couple of videos. Naveen Govinder, he's part of the Building Racial Literacy program. Okay. Nagit Riaz, she was part of the SNP back in the day, part of the Building Racial Literacy program, right? And then we'll just come to the glossary, and what do we have here? Oh, it's important to be clear when we mean by what we mean by certain words. Oh, that's so lovely, so progressive. Oh, they're doing it properly, aren't they? Racism, race, racist, privilege, right? BAME, person of color, political blackness, whiteness, white fragility, critical race theory, white supremacy, anti-Muslim racism, racial literacy, prejudice, xenophobia, reverse racism. Where's the anti-white racism? Where's the anti-white racism? You don't fucking hear about it, do you? No, you never will. You never will. No, you won't. Why? Why would that be? Why would that be? Oh, do I need to go back and tell you why that might be before we go any further? Oh, well, I'll just do it anyway, because I'm feeling it. Oh, there's a reason. Whiteness is the racial position of power. That's why. That's why. Anyway, Scottish schools in crisis. Scottish schools have dropped down international league tables under the SNP, with pupils falling behind their English counterparts in literacy, maths, and science. But the most recent programme for international student assessment, PISA, global study, also found that Scotland had the widest attainment gap between the wealthiest and poorest pupils for maths of any UK home nations. This was despite Nicola Bolcott-Finlips having pledged to close the gulf in performance when she was First Minister. The Building Racial Literacy program was launched during her tenure in January 2022, and it wasn't too long after this program initiated that I came across all the stuff. Hence, what that would highlight to you there. 2 years ago, as I say, it's going to be 3 years, and it was 2022 that was coming across this stuff. Okay, you need to bring attention to this anti-racist education in 2022. You know.
Well, so I thought, just for that split
Yeah.
second.
Anyway, where am I now? Need to get back to that. Here. So Stephen Kerr argued the program was a complete farce, saying the SNP government is squandering taxpayers' money on a program designed to indoctrinate teachers with a woke, left-wing ideology instead of focusing on delivering better education for Scotland's children. Meanwhile, the SNP is prioritising teachers to undergo training on so-called microaggressions and racial trauma. Yeah, and I mean that's not a lie. It's not a fucking lie. It's not a lie. Like I've got a video here about that actually. Somewhere down in this playlist, I'll just scroll through it. Racial literacy. Where the fuck is it? Yeah, this one.
To start with Melina. As I say, she works currently with Education Scotland, and she's a trained teacher, and she's co-founder of the Anti-Racist Educator, which, if you don't know, is a Scottish collective working towards an education system that is free from racial injustice and critically engaged with issues of identity, privilege and power. And yeah, she's really going to be speaking a bit about the work that she's been doing with Education Scotland. So I'll just pass her.
Thank you, Sheila, for the introduction. I hope you can all hear me. Fine. Can I ask you to mute while I speak, because there's a bit of feedback, and then I'll get started. Okay, thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm really delighted to be joining a hybrid event, my first experience. So I'm really excited about this. And as Sheila introduced me, my name is Melina Vedluliev, and I'm the program lead for the Building Racial Literacy program. So my background was really helped me shape this program. I was an English teacher before that, involved in a lot of anti-racist research, looking at racial dialogue. How do we talk about racism in education with young people, with children, with staff? And it's obviously race is a very contentious issue. It is also very emotional. So the Building Racial Literacy program is a 3-month program that I designed with lots of different partners, co-created it, and the design partners and I got together and thought about how we really best engage educators in building their racial literacies. So really engaging in deeper anti-racist learning, anti-racist action through their curriculum. And one of the most important things for us when we were considering this program that was going to be offered to Scottish educators in Scotland across all the different Scottish local authorities, we wanted to make sure that we were both including and catering to the needs of Black, Asian and minority ethnic educators. There aren't that many in Scotland, only 1.8% in the teaching profession compared to 4% or even 11% in the general population. And we wanted to make sure that white educators were able to engage with the program content and not be pushed back or to not struggle too much with the difficult emotions that come up when we learn about anti-racism. So one of the key concepts the design partners of the program and myself considered throughout the process was racial trauma. Now, I've done a bit of research on this informally, and I would definitely recommend Ghislaine Kinyuani's book, Living While Black, where she really, so she's a Black psychologist based in the UK, and she really has done fantastic work on racial trauma, especially in the workplace. And when we talk about racial trauma, the term was first coined by Robert Carter, and it's really used to describe the physical and psychological symptoms that people of color often experience after exposure to particularly stressful experiences of racism. And so, similar to post-traumatic syndrome, you can experience very similar symptoms of depression, anxiety, so recurring events, images in your mind, and actually the difference is that you can experience trauma as a result of multiple events adding up. And so you might just be learning about racism, you might be learning about something that you are teaching in the classroom.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. But regardless, point is though, like this is what these people speak about. That's Melina. That's the person or one of the co-creators of the anti-racist educator, and now she works for Education Scotland / building racial literacy program, and she's talking about intergenerational racial trauma. Yeah, and they're teaching your kids. And their plan long term is for like every kid across Scotland to be learning this, because as they say themselves in their own website, the Building Racial Literacy Program's website and whatnot, that they want every educator across Scotland to be racially literate. Yes. It's making sense, yeah. So, racial trauma. Anyway, so this bit as well, the MSP obtained figures. I need to share the screen again briefly. Sorry, share screen. This bit here. The MSP obtained figures under Freedom of Information rules showing the programme, which is funded under the Scottish Government's Anti-Racism and Education Initiative, cost taxpayers 63 grand in 2023. So it's actually gone up in price, because something else that I've shown before. This was from 2022. Building Racial Literacy Programme, Freedom of Information request. Who's the content of the program? What is the content of the program? Sorry, who created that? But if you come down, you get to the cost. How much has the program cost so far? Building Racial Literacy is being funded by this Rainbow Unicorn government as part of the wider programme on work on racial equality and anti-racism in education, with the total cost for the Building Racial Literacy programme being 57 grand in 2021 to 2022. And it's projected to cost the same in 2022 to 2023. So over the course of a couple of years, it's gone up in price. And if we just come back here ever so slightly, because here's this one. Cost of the Building Racial Literacy Programme 2023 to 2024 Freedom of Information requests. And there you go, lo and behold. Building Racial Literacy is being funded by the Scottish Government as part of a wider programme of work on race equality and racism in education, with the total cost of the programme being 63,000. Oh, that's sweet, lovely, and fucking progressive. Yes. Takes me to this, though. This is from May 2022. And obviously, I'm not going to go for all this fucking dribble. But yeah, first iteration of the programme ran over 3 months in early 2022 with a cohort of 89 educators from across 27 different Scottish local authorities. The programme was promoted to career-long professionals, learning leads and directors of education in each local authority. An information session was held in November 2021, where those interested in the programme could hear more about the plan, learning process, and content information about the programme. Cohort 1 comprised early learning and child care practitioners, 10, okay? And it doesn't matter how fucking small the numbers are, because bear in mind, every single year they're getting more funding, right? Long-term goal is for every teacher to be doing this shit. But at the beginning, 10 people from early learning settings. So we're talking about nursery here, yeah? Okay, nursery kids, yeah. That's fine, no, it's fine. It's very fucking progressive. Just wave some rainbow flags, mate. It's all fine. Primary school teachers, they had 19. Local authority officers, 27. BAME and ethnic educators, 26. Whatever the fuck that means. All right. Building Racial Literacy Programme offered a support structure for every participant involved. The delivery team was made up of programme leads, critical friends, facilitating group discussions, a creative reporter to capture the learning taking place, and compassion captains. All stuff I've covered before already, by the way, on my playlist. Compassion fucking captains. I mean, fuck off. Every participant had access to 3 learning groups based on their education role, their regional collaborative, and their racial identity. The groups were designed to help minimize power imbalances, disengagement, racial microaggressions, and racial trauma, and they enabled racial dialogue as well as regional and national collaboration. The notion of an anti-racist journey with different models and vocabulary to make sense of these journeys was explored with program participants who found themselves at different stages of their journeys. Okay, building racial literacy videos. Oh yeah, you want some videos? Yeah, of course. I've got these on my channel as well, both of them. So there's that. I'm not going to play them here though. It's just at the end of the day, man. It's like it's anti-white shit. Sorry, it's anti-white bullshit. That's all it fucking is. It's just anti-white bullshit. And unfortunately, for too fucking long, people would rather talk about what Donald Trump says, or what Keir Starmer says, or Nicola Sturgeon, or Hamza. It doesn't matter. This is mental shit that's going on right now. Mental shit, but it's fine. Just sit on Telegram and fucking LARP, or do something about it. Talk about it. Make your own decisions. But you want the way.
Show me the places where you cried on the floor. Everything that you've buried, you can't face anymore. Show me your teeth when you're backed in a corner, and who you see in the mirror. And where would you drive to sleep in your car? I will never tell. I will never tell. I will never tell. Yeah, you know I will never tell. I will never tell. Show me your hands, the bitten down nails, the cuts on your knuckles.